It was Emily Loves by the Pillbugs. Love those guys. Love those guys. You know, as I get older, I'm finding myself more attracted to 3-minute songs or less in the power pop vein. There's some songs I really love, but they could really cut off a minute of it, and it would be more interesting. But you know, I get when you're in a groove, you just want to keep going and such. But that's my opinion. Well, Dalgoda, he is from a published for Fantagraphics Books, who always there's never been a bad Fantagraphics book out. They've always published premiere stuff. Exemplary stuff is probably way. Love that. It's about a race, about a dog-faced guy who comes to Earth, and you'll find out why. The art and the story are great. It's written by Jan Stranad, who just about that time he did Sword of the Atom with Gil Kane. And Dennis Fujitake is the penciler and the inker. The coloring is great. So, Ken Smith, hats off to you. And the detail is just so amazing. It's the body language is so understated. It needs no trappings as far as shading or it's clear to read. Clear to read. Look at all those figures. I mean, they're not just standing around. They're all doing something different in every panel. And even if it's just moving a little closer, like right there at the bottom. Dalgoda gets out of his ship. He tries to smile, and the cameras are horrified. Nasty looking thing, ain't it? Turn it off, Charles. It's scaring the children. Dalgoda, he is I gotta think of the name. He's from Canidad, or let me think, Canidad, like canine. It basically explains his arrival, and my problem is it's like a double-sized issue. You get a lot for your money. Look at that. I love that guy's head there, how it's colored. It's mostly talking. And I know you have to establish some stuff, but I don't know. I mean, I read it last night. I really liked it, but how about that right there? That waitress sort of has a Alex Nino pose or a Esteban Morato, something like that. Really, look at that body language. But it's like very little detail, and the story tells, it's very easy to read, and I mean that in a good way, not in a smart-ass way. Stuff like that middle panel and just the way they move puts me to mind a little bit of Mobius. And imagine my surprise when I found out that Mobius and let's see, how about that? Here's the creators. Yeah, Jan Strad and Dennis Fujitake. He was Steve Ditko and French comics artist Jean Giraud, aka Mobius, and really good stuff. But it could have been a single issue. I know there's probably a lot to say, and there was a lot to say, but I mean, more than half the issue is Dalgoda hiding out in his ship, not coming out, and they send somebody in there, and that person basically shoots the shit with him for a long time. And comics are a visual medium, and I hate saying that because I love Jan Strad's work. Red Sonja, she devil with a sword. For those who don't know, Wendy Peeney, who is the artist of ElfQuest, and her husband is the writer, she dressed like Red Sonja in the mid-70s, and Lordy Lou, she looked cool. So, this is by The Idiosyncratic Art of Frank Thorne, which I don't really think a lot of people can imitate that. I love how he wraps the face around with hair, and the hair doesn't necessarily look like hair. It's more like an image. Like if I ever saw an animated movie of this, I could see all these inner lines going away, and then just kind of having that suggested, hair. There's Conan. Wow. Let's get zoomed in on it a bit. Wow. There was actually a story of her that was used for the Women of Marvel, and shortly after that they lost Red Sonja license, so I don't know if they're in the subsequent printings. A lot of these those Sons of Origins have been reprinted. But if she's the main character, if you have like a one panel or just a few panels, that falls under fair use. Fair use. Okay. Hang on. See, I'm cursed with no thumbnails. I'm a nail biter. It's just a stupid habit that I've had since I was a kid, and I quit for a while during COVID, but I fell back on it. Here we go. Ross Andrew, one of the earlier fruit pies ads, and man, those postures, and that's just really, really good. So, and the Fly actually made an appearance in Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 10, but he didn't have the eyes bug out, and I wish they had, but that's okay. Everything else was exact. So good stuff. From the good to the Web of Spider-Man. It took the place of Marvel Team Up. They finished Marvel Team Up with issue 150, and sales weren't great. The co-headliners just weren't that interesting, and then the art and the writing just seemed like they were mailing it in. And I don't mean via FedEx to be reproduced at Marvel. And that logo eventually went away to where it matched the Amazing Spider-Man logo and the Spectacular Spider-Man, which was Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man logo from the beginning, which I hated. It just looked so clunky. They just made that Spectacular Spider-Man. This is Mark Beckham, who later on worked with Neil Adams on a thing called Sam Marie, and he loves drawing TNA. There's some issues in an annual where this woman is sitting on a bed and she has her crotch wide open. I mean, like, she has pants on, but it's like the most detail of the figure is the crotch. So this is that new flexographic printing. So you see that non-black filling in there. Ugh. Horrible. Now here's the thing with Web of Spider-Man. I think it was either Jim Shooter or Jim Owsley, who was later Christopher Priest as editor here. There was a thing where they decided Web of Spider-Man was going to be different than most. The first couple issues had like the Vulture and Dr. Octopus, but quickly they went into street level situations and not much foreground. It's just very, very plain. I mean, this is kind of stuff you see today from newbies who don't know how to tell a story. Other than, they leave the writing up to the story, or the story up to the writing. And does this look like exciting to you? Is this a Spider-Man book for you? Is this, hey, if you took the cover off and didn't have the name Peter Parker or Web of Spider-Man for the most part, would you say to someone, hey, or would you even recommend this series? Because it's just deadly dull. Finally, Spider-Man shows up. And, there is some gadgets, some machine, but you don't get to it till, I don't know what page it is. But, it's such an awful book. And it didn't really take off until Jerry Conway and Alex Saviuk took over around issue 34 or so. Then it became a Spider-Man book. And also, in Web of Spider-Man, he always had the black costume on. So, it's just... It was a chore to read. They don't have the credits on the inside, but I don't know. I don't even care. If it was a good book, I would care. But wow. That era really sucked. Blue Ribbon comics. I've been collecting these, as you know. Rudy Nebres on the cover. And there you go. Wraparound cover. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. And this lasted a few years, and I get the impression that Rich Buckler was sort of a, how can I put it, de facto editor-in-chief or main editor, because he was involved with every step of the process. And he was gone for a while, and then he did some more indie stuff when Blue Ribbon went away, and I think that's why Shooter didn't want him back at Marvel. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Timmons and Buckler do the script. Layouts by Trevor Von Eaton. And finished art by Buckler. And it's a really interesting combination. And this is when Trevor Von Eaton was doing really experimental storylines. He did it for Thriller, which was a DC book. It lasted about 13 issues or so. That's kind of neat there. I'm not keen on this, though. This is very much like that famous page that Neil Adams did in the X-Men where the Beast is falling to his doom, and you had Iceman here, and then down here you had the previous image, which would have the Beast saying, "What? Icicle?" So that's just, I don't know. It won't work. And now, Von Eaton, you may be saying, he's taking a shortcut here, but he's seen the script, and it's going to be yada, 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 so, he's moving it along. That's I love that panel. And it's interesting to see Buckler inks, because you just don't see it that much, but it's pretty nice. I don't know how he came to work for these. I think just it was a fan who said, Rich Buckler did so many good books. And that big guy there, that's a Trevor Von Eaton face. So you got the yada yadas. I got a case of the yada yadas. Sorry. Anyway, I had to stop. I had to take a break because my dogs are barking like crazy, and it turned out my cousin Sammy's coming over to fix our riding mower, which has kind of left us at a standstill. Now check this out. Oh, what a beautiful... Who is Daryl Skelton? And Buckler's inking it, but that's just magnificent. Wow, that last panel there. He's like, my wings, they're part of this magical body I inhabit. That's the only thing I hate about the Fly. I dig him, but he has a magic ring, and that's just that's like something a 5-year-old would come up with. And I know C.C. Beck came up with it, but he did write and draw for juveniles with Shazam, with the original Captain Marvel, but it also could be enjoyed by grown-ups as well. Okay. Talk about your surprises that just knock you out of your head. This came out back then. We didn't have previews. Sometimes fanzines would hint at something like that. There is a whole backdrop here that's in a color hold that failed to get on the X-Men cover. So we got us some George Perez, inked by Terry Austin and Chris Claremont, Tom Warzkowski, Glennis Wynn, who I love. She is so good. If I was publishing now, and if she was still interested, I would hire her. So George just goes totally. I mean, I don't want to say more than usual, but he has to build this world. How about that? Hot diggity do. And then we get, there's like a Sal Buscema hostess fruit pies. I love the Danger Room. I love Zorp with the I-beams going through it. So great. I don't know how much this is worth, but I think a reading copy like this is probably pretty reasonable. That is so true now. Yet. So great. A misunderstanding with, as usual, with Archon and Magnificent. Okay. Everyone's getting tackled. Pulls that tree out. I am far from beaten. Sacred rings of fire. Crom. I don't think it's coincidence that the sound effect was Crom, but fucking A. That is just super cool. It turns out he was looking for the Avengers or some kind of mix-up. How about that? It's kind of like a precursor to his work on Wonder Woman. Just so much going on. And Aurora looking extremely gorgeous in that Queen outfit. God, it's so great. So they're trying to help us plan it out, but I ain't gonna tell you anymore. But you could drink in the Frank Miller cover. Hold on, everybody. You could just drink that in for a sec. I don't know why I didn't hit pause. Ding dong me. What ding dong? What am I gonna do about it? I apologize, everybody. Uncanny X-Men. Yeah, baby. Good stuff. Oh, so incredibly cool. And I'll show you. Oh, you know what? It's probably in the back because all these great designs. Some cool stuff. Okay, there it is. That line of force that's back there really would have helped, but you know what? I didn't care. It was Perez, and I know it's Perez, but that's about it, everybody. I hope you liked looking at the comics from my spinner rack. And hey, have a great day, everybody.